I want to get into the biggest story of the show. The gaming console war, I think, is pretty much over. And I don't mean that like console war is dead, which I wish it would be, because console warring is just childish. But I mean the aspect that some people in this community use sales as the driving point or force for their conversation. And of course, I'm talking about, you know who I'm, again, we don't mention names here because I don't need to swim in those waters. But the people in the PlayStation community that you know that consistently use 65 million consoles sold as some sort of unattainable metric for the entire universe is false. And Microsoft, who has been accused of being dead, and not so much Microsoft, but Xbox being dead for the 243rd time this year, it appears that they're far from it, Fuzzy Belvedere, because look, the truth of the matter is that Hip Hop Gamer, good friend of mine, who I got a chance to meet a couple of times, broke a story in early January regarding what he called the Xbox hybrid. Now, there has been some controversy because of it, and I'm going to read his tweet originally. Now, Tom Warren of The Verge put out a story over the weekend regarding this hybrid, and he was publicly checked by Hip Hop Gamer, who has done this before. Now, before we get into what Hip Hop Gamer said, let me give you some TLDR on who he is as a human. I got a chance to meet Hip Hop quite a few times, but more specifically this past June. And I got to tell you, how you know this is the realest dude I've personally ever met. Like, you know, when you see someone and they have this persona, and his persona is infectious. Like, he comes into a room and his energy explodes the room. And I'm not saying this to kiss anyone's ass. I'm saying it because it's a point to it. He does not need to lie. He does not need it. He has not only unbelievable connections in the industry, but he has deals with everyone you could possibly imagine. And he doesn't need to make things up to make himself popular. He is one of the bigs in our gaming circle. That's not a journalist. His persona is what you see is what you get. And why I'm saying that is because I was standing online with the Iron Lords. We were waiting to get into, I believe it was the Keeleys, as a matter of fact, the Summer Games Fest. We were waiting to get online. And how you know I'm Double Barrel Gaming is a small channel, and I'm a small creator, and I'm not being facetious, folks. Like, you guys and gals know me, and I appreciate the high praise that I get. But the truth of the matter is when you look at my channel, you look at my thumbprint compared to so many others, it's relatively small. And how you know Hip Hop Gamer is as real as you think he is this dude saw me from, I don't know, 50 paces away, stopped whatever he was doing, an interview, stopped what he was doing and came running over and gave me the biggest hug and pound and was like, boom. Like, that's what? Are you kidding me that he would recognize me? Like I said, my persona is relatively small when you compare it to so many more. And there's something else about him that he says that I think is an incredible statement. Now, he does a lot of stuff with kids, a lot of stuff with schools, which is why I'm a big fan of the work that he does, because that's a community dude right there. And the thing that he says, very similar to what I say that my pops taught us, right? Like, you know, treat others how you want to be treated, and it doesn't cost anything to be nice. Like, that's my saying, right? His saying is your character is your currency. And I absolutely freaking think that is one of the greatest two lines I've ever heard, because it really does, you know, depict the person that you are. And that's why he has no reason to lie. So I'm going to read his tweet verbatim. And this is coming off, of course, this is coming off of the Tom Warren story. And he goes on to say this, Fuzzy. I broke this story, not Tom Warren. January 19th of 2024, I put this out, and that's the video we're going to play in a second. He says, I got confirmation on this directly from Asus and other partners during the CES of 2024. Xbox/PC will be officially a part of the next generation hybrid system, and the talk from Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond mentioning forward compatibility is based on a system that can play all of their games library similar to a Steam environment, which with increased levels of performance. Tom did a good job reporting on this, but please respect the fact that I confirmed this in the beginning of the year. What you wrote about, bro, thank you. So what I'm going to do is I want to do a screen share because I really want to play this video. I think that it's incredibly important to the context that we have right here. And I want you to see for yourself because, again, it's only 2 minutes and 9 seconds, and that's fine, Fuzzy. So let me just set that up right now. And here we go, folks. I'm going to go to it and play.
It's a hybrid where you have an Xbox console and an Xbox PC in one, where literally you push a button, it's in console mode. You push a button, it's in Windows 11 mode. Same box. Crazy. Now, if you look up right now the Asus NUC, and if you look up the ThinkPad right now, where they got the Android and the Windows 11 on the same thing when you connect them, conversations with certain people around this idea and concept, I'm like, yo, where did this come from? How do y'all this and that? And one of the key things was like, yo, we gotta lead the way and stay ahead of the game, because this is something that we see happening in the future with our console partners. I'm like, a 2-in-1, yes. Why do you think a lot of PC companies is making a lot of console-like form factor mini PCs right now to hit the market? Which means that the PC gamers and the PC market is going to get a lot more traction and attraction from console heads. Because wow, even though my console costs $400, $500, but if I drop a little $800 to get a PC, it is in the form of a console too, but I'm getting more this and more that. I get the best of both worlds, but I'm telling you, things are changing. So get hyped, get excited, because it's happening right now. It's about to be major, period. So another thing I'm going to tell you right now with what Xbox is doing, and shout out to my man Aaron Greenberg again. He actually just put a post out today that relates to what I'm about to tell you. So Aaron Greenberg made a post today, and it says the #1 selling Steam game is now on Game Pass, Pal World.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just give us back to the here we go. All right, so look, you heard what Hip Hop Gamer had to say. Again, that comes directly from his official Twitter account. I will have that linked in the show note description. So if you want to watch it for yourself again, or you want to follow Hip Hop, I'll have both his links there, so you can just double click it, follow that dude. Definitely give him a follow. And of course, look, like I said, I'm a fan of the work that he does, not only for kids and schools. I'm a fan of what he does for the gaming community, and the guy knows his stuff. You may not always agree with him, and that's fine, but he does have ridiculous connections. And again, the reason why this has hit the pay dirt or the ground running, so to speak, in the last couple of days over the weekend is because you have Jez Corden out here talking about what potentially could be the future for Xbox consoles. And yes, Microsoft and Xbox are going to deliver a next-gen console. You heard Sarah Bond say at the beginning of the year, it is going to be leaps and bounds in the highest power you could have ever had for a home console. So that's on track, and that's tracking to what Jez is hearing. That's tracking to what Tom Warren is hearing. That's tracking to what I am hearing. And again, I'm low man on totem pole, so don't pay no attention to me. It's fine. But even though I don't say, speak about it publicly, I do get a lot of backroom chatter. As a matter of fact, I'm speaking with a particular, leaker right now, and the stuff that he told me I could leak, I won't do it because that's not what Double Barrel Gaming is. I'm not a leaker. I'm a podcaster. And when I get the okay to talk about something, well, then I'll break something. But for right now, I'm keeping a few really big nuggets to myself, and we'll see when I can break those. But Fuzzy Belvedere, look, when you listen to what hip hop is saying about this quote unquote hybrid, we kind of been hearing about this all year, right? Is the hybrid going to be this, dockable station like a Switch, but an Xbox? I don't actually think that's what it's going to be. I think the handheld is going to be its own thing. I really do. I think that the hybrid he is talking about is this Xbox console slash PC type of experience where you're going to have the power, you're going to have the ray tracing and the frames that you want. And again, what this really does set up is you as the gamer or as the consumer can go and buy your $500 or $600 Xbox, which I think we're all going to do. And if they do release a console and a handheld, then we'll all be spending over $1,000 because we're going to all buy both of them. There's just no doubt about it. But after that launch, this is where the gaming industry changes in a way that we've all never seen before. And again, you got to remember, I've been gaming since 1978. I'm a definite OG. And gaming used to be buy the box, buy the games for the box. When that box is old, you bought the new box with the new games, and you just put the other stuff in the back of the closet until it went on into either donations or you sold it, out of your garage, because that's what what used to be. That's not where gaming is going now, and the roadmap for potential third-party places like Razer, like Alienware, like Dell, like Lenovo, actually making their own Xbox because they have the specs. And then, of course, this is where consumerism really comes into play, because someone may only be able to afford that $500 or $600 box, and they're going to be happy with it. But what if somebody has the money and is like, something? I want to drop $1,200 on this Xbox. And like I said, has anyone ever gone to Alienware and built a PC? Because I've done it. I did it for Mrs. Boom last Christmas. And you pick the pieces that you want, and it goes in there. They build it for you. They send it to you, and you're golden. And whatever you paid for is there. That is the future of gaming. And I think this is where they jump Sony in a big way, because I can't see Sony doing that. And if Microsoft and Xbox do that for next generation, it is going, the console sale conversation is going right out the window, because it's no longer going to be, I sold, 5 million Xbox, whatever it's called. No, there's going to be Xboxes coming from everywhere, the same way you see that there are handhelds from everywhere. Let's get some of your thoughts onto this crazy, unbelievable future for gaming.
I'm looking forward to it. Like, one of the things that I've kind of thought, just from the handheld standpoint, is that these things would have to be somewhat of a hybrid for it to really make sense. So that way you can play your console library that you already have and be able to have access to possibly things like Steam. So hearing those things made me believe that they were going to find a way to emulate the console games on a handheld device. Like, I was actually surprised for the longest time that after Gabe from Valve had said that he was willing to work with other partners to make similar Steam Decks or share the tech specs on those as far as how to bring that to market. I was surprised that Xbox didn't have their own. Excuse me for a sec. Sorry about that. But
no, it's such is life, my brother.
No, but I was surprised that Xbox didn't make, just like they did the B&O headset, that they didn't do like their own design by Xbox Steam Deck type of thing, where you could access your Steam library on the same device that you could access Game Pass without having to do the browser aspect of it, or even access the Xbox app on it. Now, you can do that now on the Steam Deck if you have the know-how to do like a dual boot, or if you want to do kind of like a split setup type of thing where you can have it in Windows 11 and then have the Steam OS running in the background, or still have access to Steam games and have access to at least the Xbox PC games. But the console games, I think, are the big thing. And that's where, when everybody hears this is an Xbox or everything's an Xbox, and they get worried about the future of the console, the way that they were trying to work this device is going to make it so your existing library that's tied to a console right now can be played on a device that's part console, part PC, or at least it's a PC that can emulate console legally, and be able to still access your library. And I think that's the direction that they're headed. And I didn't really pay as much attention to it when it was mentioned before. I love the enthusiasm and the energy of Hip Hop Gamer, and he's passionate about this hobby that we all
The heck is.
And sometimes he gets it right, sometimes he gets it wrong. But this was one where it's like, it makes sense, but we'll see how that goes. And it was like we weren't expecting something in that range for probably 3 or 4 years, like maybe past 2028, where that hardware would be the next progressive move as far as making it part PC and part console. Because over the years, consoles have gotten closer and closer to PC spec, be it a year or two behind or several years behind. But I didn't think it was relatively that quick, or that we would see that soon. But I thought with the handheld, considering how the Steam Deck or a ROG Ally and all those other devices out there can kind of do that to some extent if you have the know-how. Not as much on the emulation, although you can do Nintendo emulation, you can do PlayStation emulation and Sega emulation and things like that, as far as like some of the older ROMs that are out there on the internet. Not saying you should do that unless you officially own the game, but there are still legal ramifications with all of that still. But if Microsoft is pushing this to the next step as far as making their devices kind of like that dual boot device, then we'll all be satisfied moving forward, because our existing library, our back compat library, all of that comes with us forward to the new device. So it's great that Hip Hop Gamer, shed light on this. Probably didn't get the attention it needed at the time. I know a lot of other people that pay attention to the same, sources or certain individuals in the industry as well, had some inkling of this as well. Like Asante, who's also in the chat, is one that's been trying to get Everborn to get one of those smaller footprint PCs, but Everborn being Everborn, he decided to build a full boat PC, the top of the top with the processor as well as the video card and stuff. And it works out great. A little finagling as far as getting the software to run as seamlessly as a console and have it be basically the console under the TV. But I think, moving forward, whether it's Xbox directly themselves, which I still think they'll make something along these lines, as well as their partners, much like they do with Surface. I mean, they make their own hardware, but they're mainly about selling software. And everybody knows you can get Windows on a Dell or Windows on a Asus or Lenovo or ThinkPad and all that. I think this will be the next progressive step where the consoles will be similar. Probably the best ones on the market that you'll be able to buy will be the ones officially made by Xbox or Microsoft themselves. And then if you want maybe the equivalent of a mid-gen refresh, maybe a little bit more memory or slightly better video, or I don't know if they're going to do like a SoC or like an APU where it's basically the video card and processor all in one. And if they do that, maybe the ROG Ally has a slightly better one than the one you could buy from Xbox. The Xbox One might be $500, $600. One from ROG might be $800. But you get a little bit more bells and whistles where you'll probably be able to do better quality ray tracing, or instead of just being stuck at 60 frames, you might be able to push everything to 120 frames. Or if you have it hooked to a monitor, 144 frames or something to that effect. So I think this avenue that they're going, where they'll have partners as well as their own devices. Plus, I think there's a software aspect of this, because part of the thing that we talked about before with Jason Ronald going to this CES thing, as well as somebody from Steam going there as well. Yep. I think we're going to see Steam OS that you can install on a ROG Ally, or that you can install on a Legion Go or MSI Claw. And the same thing with the Xbox OS. I think instead of putting full on Windows 11, although I'm pretty sure Microsoft would love for you to put the full Windows 11 on it, but I think there will be a stopgap where you can put the Xbox app, which will give you access to Game Pass, access to Xbox app, access to your Xbox library from console, as well as if you want to have access to Steam, GOG, and Epic. So I think moving forward, this hybrid notion, blurring the lines between console and PC, has become a norm. And I would say the biggest thing for the console-only folks that are out there, don't be worried or scared about this. I think in the grand scheme of things, you'll see that it opens up more opportunities or opens up more access. because there's a lot of games that go to PC that are still on PC in either early access or only on PC, like Hades 2, or I just had the other one that was made by the guys that did Ori. What the hell was it? But I forget the name of the game, but No Rest for the Wicked.
Yes.
With that game, you're not going to see those probably on console for maybe a year or two, but you'd be able to play them today. Sure, It's early access, and we even get early access stuff on Xbox, unlike PlayStation doesn't really do the early access thing. This will be a bigger window that you're opening and have more access to probably some of the smaller games that some of the smaller devs that where it's one or two devs or a smaller team that they don't have time to port things over to console. You'll still have access to those games, and they'll also run optimized for PC, which your device will be part PC at that point. So I think this is a great future moving forward. I can't wait for it. I really want to see what the next handheld devices look like as far as this hybrid system. I'll probably go with that route first and then wait to see what the more higher end spec of a hybrid PC, or just upgrade my current PC and then run some sort of OS to make it more of like a gaming PC than what I have currently. But it's an awesome story, awesome stuff that we have seen, that we hopefully will see here soon in the future. And can't wait to see CES with Jason Ronald out there as well, possibly talking about Xbox OS. And, you know, you can turn your Legion Go or Steam Deck or whatever into a portable Xbox. So can't wait.
It's going to be very interesting. You know, shout out to King Styles, who has to bounce. Happy holidays to you, brother. Thank you so much for hanging out with us for as long as you could. Got to give a shout out to Decado in the chat. Decado, what's up, brother? Nice to see you here. He says, if you didn't know, Windows 12 is in beta.
Yeah.
Now, what does that mean for you, for me? I'm not a PC head, right? Do I give a shit? Not really. But everything is starting to stack in Xbox's and Microsoft's favor. Here's why. So the story I was telling you about that Jez Corden wrote, I pulled up his post on Twitter. It says, I wrote some predictions on what I think next-gen Xbox hardware ecosystem will look like. And I did pull it up. So I again, just want to read a couple of quotes from it. And it says, predicting the actually very exciting future of the next-gen Xbox hardware. This was posted by Jez Corden of Windows Central. And, of course, Jez Corden is one half of the Xbox 2 podcast with Randall Thor 19. He goes on to say, an analyst recently said that next-gen only either Xbox or PlayStation will survive as a console manufacturer. Here's why that's silly. And this is some of the, again, I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm just going to read some quips from it because it is important and worth context to what we're talking about. He says, what does Xbox's next gen look like? I think there's more hints out there than many potentially realize. Recently, a game analyst predicted that next gen, there won't be room in the high-end console market for both PlayStation and Xbox, insinuating essentially that Xbox would have to die. That's dumb for a variety of reasons, but we'll focus on the more obvious ones right now. He goes on to say, Fuzzy Belvedere in chat, as we head into 2025, the hardware we use to play games on is becoming increasingly incidental. I wrote recently how Xbox mostly won't have console exclusives moving forward, but it may not even matter. Increasingly, PlayStation is bringing its games to Steam, and Valve is about to let manufacturers build consoles based on its OS, which will be full of PlayStation games anyway. In that universe, the very idea of console exclusives becomes a little silly. Finally, he goes into saying the future of gaming on the platform holder's perspective, at least generally, is going to revolve around content and software sales. And who, Fuzzy Belvedere, is leading the charge in software right now? That would be Microsoft Game Studios. And that's why that's super important to this whole conversation. He says the hardware that content lives on will become increasingly incidental, and more users adopt device-agnostic platforms like Steam and cloud to build their gaming libraries. On that point, who already puts all their games on Steam and on PC. That would be Microsoft and Xbox, who is dragging their heels to do day and date, who have not done day and date except for Lego Horizon, and that didn't do so well for them. That would be PlayStation, ladies and gentlemen. So again, Fuzzy, I want to continue this conversation because Ecstasies, if you don't know who he is, you should follow him. He's another insider / leaker. I know him personally. He's been on the show a couple of times. I can assure you, has one-to-one connections with people in Microsoft. That is how he's able to break so many stories. Who he's talking to, I have no idea, but I can tell you that they are legit sources for him. Well, he put out a post that sent the internet on fire. And this is what he had to say, Fuzzy Belvedere. Microsoft's new plan. The company is closing strategic alliances with companies that already have experience in the field of hardware and, quote, portable consoles, such as Asus and Lenovo, seeking to revolutionize the way we play Xbox titles, according to Windows Central, which, of course, we just read some of his story. He goes on to say, but that's not all. They also mention that there are rumors that Microsoft is considering something really ambitious, in all caps, having third parties manufacture Xbox branded devices and even using the console's operating system. This would fit and make sense of their recent aggressive "This is an Xbox" campaign. So again, folks, this isn't just one person talking about this. These are multiple people who have credible sources. Ecstasies has a tremendous track record. Jez Corden, again, for me personally, tip of spear when it comes to journalistic integrity. And of course, the hip hop gamer who has been talking about this since January of 2024. I got to tell you, I know that we're running into the 60-minute mark, and we're going to hang out here for a little bit more because I got to continue this conversation, Fuzzy. This is incredibly exciting. And when you look at what everyone else is doing, it appears that Xbox is stomping, not just leading the charge. They are stomping ahead because not only are they going to have the hardware, they're going to be out first with their next-gen console, their handheld, but they have a ridiculous amount of software, some of the greatest new games that we have yet to play. And you know that there's a new Horizon, there's a new Gears, there's a new Halo, and that is just tip of spear. Let's get your final thoughts on what Xbox is doing compared to everyone else.
I think this is going to be the determining factor of why they did the everything is an Xbox commercial. It's going to show everybody that whether you want to stay on the current gen consoles or look at the next gen consoles, you'll still be able to have access to the software. Your software, when you do decide to upgrade, your software will come with you. I can't express how good this will be when you're not just tied to the console under your TV. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of console only gamers don't grasp just yet. Like, sure, it's great sitting on the couch in front of your TV, playing the games that you like, and they'll still continue to make the hardware so you can do that. Or they'll have partners that will make the equivalent of, like, let's say, the mid-gen upgrades or refreshes that will be a little bit more powerful. Maybe you get a little bit better frame rate out of it, maybe a little bit more bells and whistles and things. But I think moving forward, knowing that you could take your regular tablet or a later tablet and still do either the console streaming or, streaming from the cloud, or maybe your tablet has enough storage space and is able to run some of the games natively. Being able to, switch from the living room to, let's say, the garage, if you're changing your own oil or whatever the case may be, or take the games with you on your phone when you're at the grocery store waiting in line. I think that will be the ultimate thing that people will, have that aha moment where you can do that. And I know it's not for everyone. A lot of those are going to still want to just be in front of the TV, have the headset, be in a party with their friends and things like that. But I think once you know that, let's say that TV is, the wife wants to watch her movies and, instead of arguing, because if the missus is happy, everybody's happy kind of thing. You just want to continue your game elsewhere. Well, you got the laptop that you can switch the game, pick up right from where you left off. Which, by the way, for those that I think it was Takao that made mention, or I can't remember who made mention, but with Windows 12 being in beta, one of the key things that they want to implement is quick resume for PC gaming. When they get that going, which I think they will have, that's going to be the game changer on the PC side of things. They'll finally get the experience what we got the experience on console. But aside from the quick resume aspect, the way that they have their cloud structured now, if you shut down your Xbox that's hooked to the TV and pick up your laptop, and it's a game that's a play anywhere game, you'll pick right up where you left off. The last save will be in the cloud for you to continue right where you left off. Now, it's not on every game, but there are so many games that are first party, and more third party games are doing that. And with that being said, that's the whole thing that with this software move, like, yeah, it's great if you could sell 65 million consoles. That's awesome. But if a lot of those 65 million consoles are like 2 in a household, you're only buying software really for one. So they're not really meeting the numbers that they would like for those 65 million. If one person owns 2 consoles, which that's kind of common. There's quite a few people in the in the community that have multiple PlayStations or even multiple Xboxes. But if you can now play those on more devices, or people that may not have even considered buying the hardware can still buy the software, that's still good money going in Microsoft's pocket. The drawback with PlayStation, if you're fixed to the box and you don't buy the box, you can't play the software. Now, there are some games that they're slowly cutting down that time frame, put them on PC, that you'll be able to buy the software and play it. But the more and more it seems like they do that, they seem to stumble over their own feet when it comes to the PSN login. Like, the big thing, Xbox has that as well. Don't get it twisted. It's out there as well that you have to do that. But if you're on a Windows device, it's already taken care of from when you set up the Windows device. So it's like a one-time thing. It's always running in the background. It's always a connected thing. You always get your achievements. You always can, pick up your progress from where you left off on Play Anywhere games. It keeps track of your hardware, or it keeps track of your updates and things like that. And you can even have it where you can, let's say you want to install the game from your console onto your PC, and that's a connected device within your family of devices. You can go ahead and do that just from whatever device, whether it's your phone or your console, and vice versa on your PC. Oh, you don't have enough room on the hard drive on the PC, but you do on your Xbox. Go install it on the Xbox. So this whole system moving forward is going to make it so you never have to think about gaming. It's just a matter of, do you have a TV or do you have a monitor to play it on? And with some TVs having the Xbox app built in, it's easy peasy at that point. So you don't even have to think about it. But man, I'm looking forward to where I think the key thing that's missing for me at this minute is some of the console games being able to be played on PC devices.
Yes.
And with the new software and the new hardware that they're working on, once that happens, it's like I don't have to worry about like a game like what was it? Just Cause 4. Well, Just Cause 3 was pretty laggy on the original Xbox One. The Xbox One X worked well. That's sitting in the box right now. I'm not unpacking that to play it, but I could play it on my Series X, or I could play it on my gaming PC. Something like that, because the PC will probably have better visuals, and I can run better frames, and I can do some mods to that game. It's the next step for me. But for a lot of those that are console only, just keep in mind, you never have to worry about your library being left behind. You never have to worry about if you pack up your old Xbox that you can't access those games with this system moving forward. You'll be able to access them, play them on that new device, or play it in some cases on a device you already have in your house, like your PC or your laptop. So I know that may not be the comfortable feeling for a lot, but just know that when they did make mention of being able to but bring your games with you, they were serious about that. And what better way to continue having your ecosystem grow, knowing that the people in that ecosystem always have their library. They didn't pay for anything that they magically lose unless, you know, the publisher for whatever reason decides to delist things. But as long as you purchased it before it's delisted, it's yours forever.